Hello, and welcome back to the Graham and Sibbald podcast.
The trendy music intro again.
Of course, it wouldn't be a podcast without it. We're once again joined by Tim Bunker. Hello Tim, how are you?
I'm very well, Georgia, good to speak to you.
Remind me, is this your second time on the podcast?
It is my second, yes, so I'm a veteran.
Oh no, Jan is waving at me saying that's actually your third time.
Is it? My God, I must have done one in my sleep.
Voice of Graham Sibbald at this point.
Yes.
Tim is a rating consultant within Graham and Sibbald, and he's here to tell us all about financial management, how it can benefit business owners, and what else is coming down the tracks. So, with no further ado, on with the show. So, could you tell us about the new financial management service being offered by your team?
Sure, yes. Well, Business Rates was predominantly about challenging the property valuation, the rateable value, and we will continue to offer that service. However, the value upon which the rates bill is calculated is something that we've always checked, and we've negotiated with the assessors on that particular issue. However, over the years, there's been more and more opportunities for clients to get what we call rates relief. And that may be on the property while it's empty or while they're doing works to it, etc., etc. So there are now 14 different types of rates relief available on commercial property, and it has become really an area where we've needed quite a bit of expertise to be able to negotiate with each local authority in each area on behalf of clients where we believe that rates relief might be available to them. So we brought in a new administrator, Marta Kalanka, who came in from Bernardo's, who was involved with a lot of the rates relief applications on behalf of that charity. And that has really enabled us to expand this service right across the board. So it's not just the valuation now, it's on the rates relief packages that might be available to clients.
Okay, so what sort of benefit will this service have for clients of Graham and Sibbald?
Well, firstly, we have a new finance system which Marta will be administrating, and that enables the client to send us their rates bill, and we can check the full details of that. And if they have a portfolio of property, it enables us to check their properties right throughout the country and tell them whether or not the bill is correct, whether they should be paying that amount, or whether there's a challenge that could be made against the actual invoice that they receive, and whether they should be getting relief for. It may be a situation where the client demolishes a building within a campus or an industrial estate that they hold, and they make changes to that, and the assessor has not been aware of it, or the finance department's not aware that there's been a physical change which would have reduced the rates liability on that property. So we're looking at the property, we're looking at the invoices, and just checking all the details that might be available to them.
So obviously you mentioned relief there. Where exactly can people find out more about the options that are available to them?
Well, the relief packages are outlined in a brief summary on most local authority websites. However, if the ratepayer or client gets in touch with myself or my colleague Sarah Fitzpatrick or Marta at Graham and Sibbald, we have the full details of how these packages should be applied. As always, it comes down to individuals, so there can be, some local authorities may review the package slightly differently, make a different decision, and that can be challenged. So the information is available through all the Graham and Sibbald offices. We can discuss it with the client. We can come out to the property and discuss it with the client on site, look at the buildings, see where the changes may have occurred, and identify to them not just the changes that have happened in the past, but if they're maybe going to make some alterations in the future, they may be going to refurbish a building which is going to be out of use, and while that is being done, they may be able to save some money on their rates in the meantime. So it's to be able to provide them with a service for them to have a strategy of where they're going to go and how they're going to operate during a period where it's maybe difficult for them during trading particular situations. I mean, particularly over COVID, there's been a lot of relief packages available for that. And we've been acting for a lot of clients to make sure that they do get, the best benefit for grants and reliefs that are available.
That's great. It's really good to know that Graham Sibbald can be there to help out. What about business rates? What's happening? What is next in the world of business rates?
Well, there's quite a lot going on because there was supposed to be a full commercial rating revaluation of all property in Scotland last year. But what has happened is that due to COVID, the actual revaluation has been postponed. And so it's not going to happen until 2023 with effect from the 1st of April. So the assessors are currently issuing what they call returns of information. Now, this is a form that is sent out to every ratepayer. It's also sent out to landlords and all tenants, asking them to complete the details of their tenancy, which would be their rent, whether or not there's been any property change to the building, if there's been any improvements, has the rent increased, and also have they spent any money upgrading the property generally. That has to be returned back to the assessor to enable them to prepare for their revaluation. Now, these forms are actually quite complicated, and now that they've been given new powers, the assessor, so what they're doing is they're issuing these forms, and on the top right-hand corner it says, must be returned within 28 days. Now, if that timescale is not adhered to, the assessors have the powers to issue quite significant fines to the landlord, it may be the tenant, but also if that form has been sent to their agent or maybe their lawyer, they can fine those parties as well. So it's become quite an important issue to make sure that, one, if the form comes in, it's dealt with and it is returned to the assessor correctly, because if the information is incorrect, they also have the chance of issuing a fine. So it's become quite a current issue. So that will be issued over the next wee while, and Graham and Sibbald we've been advising a number of clients on how to complete these forms and how they're to be done, because they must be submitted online. So we've been dealing with a lot of that. Then the revaluation will start, and from November of this year, we're hopeful that draft values may be available from the assessors on what they believe the rateable value for next year is going to be, so we can challenge that. So there's a fair bit going on with all this information being requested by assessors and draft valuations being prepared. So it's quite a busy time.
Although we are approaching the end of the podcast, since you are a 3-time guest on the show, I thought I'd ask if there was anything else that you would like to catch up on today.
I think mainly, if clients have any concerns, they should just pick up the phone or send an email to us, and we're very happy to just have a general discussion or provide them with advice. It may be that they don't qualify for relief, and that's fine, but at least they've made the inquiry and they're sure that there aren't reliefs out there that they should have got. Also, with regard to the revaluation forms, if they need any help with that, we're happy to talk through the issues. We're happy to do it for them or help them do that. But it's become a time when, due to COVID over the last while, a lot of businesses have been really struggling, and the last thing they really need is an increased rateable value with increased liability over the coming years when they're trying to get back on their feet. So it's important that people do become aware of the information that's out there, who to go to and speak to about it, and we'd be delighted to assist them with it.
Thank you, Tim, for your time today. It's great to hear that the team is growing and that this new service will be of such great benefit to business owners.
Good, thank you for having me. Really enjoyed it, thank you.
For anyone that would like more information or to download a copy of Graham and Sibbald's latest business rates newsletter, please visit their website www.g-s.co.uk. Thank you for listening, and we look forward to you joining us next time.